Chapter 13, Example 3. Suppose that 40% of the cars in your area are manufactured in the United States, 30% in Japan, 10% in Germany, and 20% in other countries. If cars are selected at random, find the probability that A car is not made in the U.S. This question is asking, what is the chance of the car is not made in the U.S.? Therefore, you must use the complement rule, which says the probability of an event not occurring is 1 minus the probability that it does occur. So to start out, we're going to write P of the probability of a car being selected in the United States equals 0.4, which represents the 40%, and then the probability of it not being in the United States would be, in reference to the complement rule, 1 minus 0.4, because we're looking for the probability that it won't be. And so obviously, if you do the math here, you're going to get 0.6. So to write it out, it would be there is a 60% chance that the car is not made in the U.S. Now transitioning to Part B. Part B asks, find the probability that a car is made in Japan or Germany. It is asking what is the chance that the car we select is either made in Japan or Germany. Therefore, we must use the addition rule, which says for two events that are disjoint or events that don't have any outcomes in common, what is the probability that one or the other occurs is the sum of the probabilities of the two events. So we would write it the probability of Japan and Germany equals the probability of Japan being selected is 0.3 or 30%, and Germany is 0.1 or 10%. So we can go ahead and put the addition sign there. And that would equal 40% or 0.4. So to write that out, you would say there is a 40% chance the car you selected is made in Japan or Germany. Now on to Part C. Part C asks you to find the probability that you see two cars in a row from Japan. So it's asking what is the chance that the two cars you select are both from Japan. Therefore, we must use the multiplication rule, which says for two independent events, A and B, the probability that both A and B occur is the product of the probabilities of the two events. The two cars being selected from Japan are independent because the first car being from Japan doesn't affect what the second car will be. So you're going to write that out as the probability of Japan, both cars being from Japan, is equal to the probability of one car being from Japan times the probability of another car being from Japan. So that's written as .30 times 0.30, because the probability of getting one car from Japan is 30%. So if you do the math, you get 0.09 or 9%. So to write that out, you want to say there is a 9% chance you see 2 cars in a row from Japan? Now on to part D. Part D asked you to find the probability that none of the 3 cars came from Germany. These are all independent events, as one car coming from Germany won't affect what the next car will be. Therefore, as I mentioned before, you can use the multiplication rule. But first, we need to find that what is the probability that one car doesn't come from Germany when it's being selected. So that's 1 minus 0.10, just 0.9. So to write it out, we're going to do the probability of not being from Germany times probability of not being from Germany times it again. You can break that down into separate NG. Just to save space, I'm going to use NG to represent not from Germany. And so then that would be 0.09 times 0.09 times 0.09, which equals 0.729. So to write that out into sentence form, there is a 72.9% chance that the 3 cars came from Germany. Sorry, that none of the 3 cars came from Germany. That none. Transitioning to part E. Part E asks, find the probability that at least one of 3 cars is US made. So we're going to write that out as the probability of at least one US made out of 3, of course. And in this situation, we're going to use both the complement rule and the multiplication rule that was mentioned earlier. But to do this, we want to find the probability that none of the 3 cars are made in the US, and then subtract that number from 1 to get the probability that at least one is US made. So to do that, we'll write 1 minus the probability of none of the cars being US made. So that's 1 minus P. To break it up, you write not US times not US times not US. So not US would be 1 minus the probability of the US occurring, which would be 0.6. So it would be 1 minus 0.06 times 0.0 times 0.60, sorry, times 0.60, which would be 1 minus 0.216, which equals 0.784. So to write that out in sentence form, we would say there is a 78.4% chance that at least one of the 3 cars is US made. Finally, on to part F. Part F asks you to find what is the probability that the first Japanese car you choose is the fourth one. So that is asking us to find the chance that all the fourth car will be the Japanese, but the first three before that won't be. So in this situation, you're going to use the multiplication rule. So to write that out, you would say the probability of the first Japanese car you choose being fourth car. So that is equal to the probability the fourth being Japanese. So to find that, as mentioned before, we're going to use the multiplication rule. So we would do the probability of not being Japanese for the first three, because those first three won't be Japanese. I'm going to write not J here just to save some space, times not J times Japanese, because we want that fourth car to be from Japan. So that would be 0.7 times 0.7 times 0.7, because the probability the car you select is not being Japanese is 70%, as the probability that it will be Japanese is 30. So the probability of it will be being Japanese is 30%, and that would get you 0.1029. So let's write that out in sentence form. There is a 10.29% chance that the fourth car you choose, let's say that the first Japanese car is the fourth one.